I can tell you, my friends, is as far as these two guests are concerned, I got to get you into my life.
Oh,
You already did, baby.
Well, I am a raving Beatle fan, but everybody knows that. Never stopped. A lot of great music groups out there, but you know what's amazing about the Beatles, and I know you know that as family members, our kids now, all of these years later, are as crazy about them as we were.
Thing.
Why?
Well, I think they hear it from their parents, and who heard it from their parents. I mean, it's 50 years on now, and
Excuse me just a moment. You had to remind me. Quick, Lisa, my pills on the desk. And she just reminded me, 50 years.
Yes.
in fact, this coming Saturday, October 12th, it'll be October 13th in England, and that will be, we're doing our show out at Encantera, the Magical History Tour show, and that will be 50 years to the day that the word Beatlemania was invented, coined, and first appeared in the newspapers.
Okay, well, you know, there are folks who tuned in a little late, and they said, well, wait a minute, those don't look like the Beatle tribute people out there. Let everybody know what you mean by we are doing our show. Who is we?
Okay, so it's a 2-hour musical and multimedia extravaganza featuring the world's best, in our opinion, Beatle band, the Mop Tops. And they're going to do 4 sets in all the original costumes and the Vox amps, and I mean down to the detail. And then in between, when they're doing their magic presto changeo, Angie and I will be, you know, running multimedia slideshows of rare footage and family photos, and she'll be telling stories from her book, and it'll just be a fun family night out.
And there's somebody out there right now saying, well, wait a minute, where did they get these pictures? It's because this is family. I mean, we're talking about Paul's stepmom and stepsister. And how did that work? Just explain to everybody right now about when you came into Paul's life.
Well, I was a widow with a 4-year-old daughter, Ruth.
This one?
This one.
Yes.
She's born in 1900 and frozen to death.
Never mind.
And,
Does she do that all the time?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we both do
Elder
that.
abuse is what's going to follow now.
She just did that, putting makeup on me in the ladies' room.
So this widow, this widow with a 4-year-old, was where?
I lived in Liverpool, and I had a friend who turned out to be the niece of Jim McCartney. Her name was Bet Robbins, and she was thinking, aha, matchmaking. I didn't realise this at the time, but she said, oh, you must come over and visit Uncle Jim sometime. He lives all alone in this big house that Paul's bought for him. And I said, Paul? She said, Paul, Uncle Jim McCartney? Oh, the penny hadn't dropped with me. Of course, I was into the Beatles as everybody else was on Merseyside. But then I went to meet Jim, and I know it sounds nuts, and I've said it before. As we drove in the driveway of Rembrandt, and Jim opened the front door and stepped out onto the porch, I thought, I'm going to marry him.
And aren't you glad?
I am. So in America, when people say sort of how does it work, I say it's like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
So I'm Cindy.
The merged families,
yes, exactly.
right?
Yeah. I'm Cindy. He's Bobby, and there's Mike
Angie. And Angie has written a book with a great deal of assistance from Ruth. My Long and Winding Road. The first 82.9 years.
That's when it went to the publishers last November. I'm almost 84 now, so I started on book 2 because I've remembered a lot of stories I forgot to put in there.
You're a heck of a looking bird.
I bet you say that to all.
That'll be a $5, please. I'm a manager when that sort of conversation comes up.
Okay, we're gonna alternate because we have so little time, and we have 50 years to cover, right?
Yes.
Okay. First thought when I say to you, Ruth, Paul, as a person.
Yes.
Give me a response.
Vegetarian, humanitarian, tall, dark, good-looking, handsome, rich, left-handed, southpaw.
Does she always jump in like that?
Well, we interrupt each other. It's just, DNA.
Well, you get permission to do that too when I say to you, Angie, John as a person, your memory, first memory of John.
Loved him. Everybody had warned me to, don't say anything to upset John. But he came to our house and I gave him a cup of tea, and when he'd finished it, he did this with the tea to me, and I said, excuse me, have a little word in this house, please, because I was raising this little monster and I wasn't going to have anybody, Beatle or whatever.
Wait just a second, right. Little Monster, Lady Gaga's fans,
Yes.
and Ruth.
There you go. That's where she got it.
And it's all in here. Okay, your turn.
Whatever.
Your turn. George Harrison.
Quiet, peaceful, funny, young. He was the baby of the group. He was 15 when they first went to Hamburg.
Amazing.
I know. And, you know, he lied on his papers and his application. And, of course, when the Kino, the movie theater that they were living in upstairs on straw mattresses, they accidentally set it on fire and the police came. And then they found George was 15. So it was like, bye-bye Hamburg, hello Liverpool. So they sent them home. So George was always, he was the baby. But really, when you now I have a program I do for a volunteer for elementary school kids called Art and the Beatles. It's a 45-minute show and tell, and then they do art pieces afterwards. And the George piece is interesting because of his influence going to India and then bringing back the fashions and so on and so forth. That really, in the zeitgeist where it was, that changed British cuisine because people started thinking Indian restaurants were cool.
And some of the best in the world are.
And some of the best in the world. And
Yeah.
at last year's European Culinary Olympics, the British national dish is chicken tikka masala.
Follow that?
Ringo.
Ringo, just a fun guy. He was always sort of, you know,
The balance.
in the back. Yeah, that's right, he was. And his mum and stepfather were really great, grounded people. And he used to send, when he first was a Beatle, he used to send his mother some money every month. And she used to put it in a British post office savings account, she said, in case our Richie ever needs it. You know, if this music thing doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Because he'd like to open a hairdressing shop or something.
Well, if your day, rainy as it may be, in honor of the folks from UK coming in, you are going to find that coming up, the Magical History Tour, Good Life Festival, Encantera, Santan Valley, and that's going on when?
And a splendid time will be had for all this Saturday, the 12th of October. Doors open at 4. There's wine tasting and fabulous country club out
And
there.
the Mop Tops.
And the Mop Tops.
the Mop
The Mop
Tops.
Tops, the
Wonderful.
McCartneys, the memories, the music, and the magic.
Angie and Ruth, and you know what? I'm so sorry that I didn't get a chance to ask them their response to the name Yoko. But maybe we can do that the next time on The Morning Scramble.